Okay, what we got here is an OPST 200, what did you say, 225? 225 grains, which seems a little bit light on this rod. This is what weight rod is this, 6? 6.7. Seems a little bit light. But you can see that orange stuff hanging next to that white. That's called an overhang. You got to have that, or you should have that. Some people like to have it right up tight like that, and you can do that also. It'll still cast. So I prefer to have a little bit overhang, about that much right there. About 1.5 feet, maybe at the most. And that seems to make it go the best. So about a foot of overhang, D-loop, and cast. All right. So what we're going to do here, hang on, I got to check something out here. Well, it makes such a difference. Get that bottom hand down low. Keep it low. But when you got this little fighting butt on the end here, keep the bottom hand low. Then it just powers it right out. It's your haul, basically. It's a haul. So if you're familiar with hauling, now we're going to use this bottom hand, and it's very light. Nice and light. You don't have to do it hard. You don't want to squeeze that rod hard, but that's the main thing with all casting, but particularly with this kind of casting. It's very light, hardly touching the top. I'm going to use one finger to pull this butt around, and there's the cast. That's just one finger pulling that butt. The minute you think you're going to cast that thing in the next zip code, the cast is over with. The minute you think you're going to thrash that, it's not going anywhere. It's got to be a nice, smooth transfer of energy. There it is, right there. So I'm going to strip it back. About 1.5 feet overhang. Nice and light in the hand. Barely touching the rod. There's the cast right there. All right. That's key. And the other thing too is I like to use mono for shooting line. This is the shooting line because the head's detachable. I like to use regular fly line running line in the winter time or cold weather. As where in the summertime I like monofilament. You're going to get a better shoot with mono. Mono will shoot better. Something I want to add to that. When I said to hold it light and stuff like that, don't get way up here and try to do it because it won't go. It won't go. You're going to hold it very light, and I mean light, hardly touching it. Pull that here. Get up. If your bottom hand, being the one that's holding the bottom of the rod, should never get above your belt line. There, there it is. I'm going to make another cast, just doing the same thing. There. Now this time I'm going to do it with my bottom hand above my belt, somewhere up in the mid-chest. Totally different cast. So the cast is, let me get it over here. So the cast is this, right here. That's it, because you want that rod to stop up there. If that rod falls below below that position, you're going to get rod deflection. And rod deflection is very important in fly casting. This is rod deflection. Wherever that tip goes, the line goes. So if I stop my rod lower than 10 o'clock, I'm going to get that kind of thing driving the line right straight in the water. So I've got to stop it up high enough, I can't reach up that high enough so that when it takes off, it's in flight like a plane leaving a runway. So if you watch that line going out, you'll see it climbing. Right now I got a slack right there. I'm going to just do a little sea spray. See? Get it up in the air. Going to stop that rod right there. That's where you get the cat. You stop that rod right there. Any lower than that, you're going to get deflection. The tip is going to drive the line in the water. You want the deflection that way, so it's going in the direction you want the line to go. That may be hard to understand or not hard to understand. My point is this. Stop and high. Boom, line goes out. But if I bring that rod below 10 o'clock, that rod tip below 10 o'clock, the cast is over with. It's not going nowhere. Below 10 o'clock this time. See? It didn't go. But it will go. You've got to think of that tip stopping there. I did it so light there that it didn't hardly cast, but this time I'll go real time. There. Tightened up against the reel. Saying all that, you know, there's exceptions to everything. You sure this is a 6-weight, not a 5-weight?
They told me it was 6-7.
So, if I come off the side, I'm still going to stop that rod pointing straight ahead above the water, about that high above the water, even off the side. A lot of times you want to get under brush, you're going to spay it right underneath those brush. Let's just say we got a brush hanging down there. If I come back, hit it, wow, I lost it, hang on. Slipped out of my hand. So here we go. So, right under the wind. If you got a lot of wind at your side, you just, I call it a slice cast. I don't know what it's really called. Underneath, whew, you can go right up under the bushes with it. Steelhead fishing, we do it all the time. It's amazing how precise you can cast, I mean, not precise, how accurate you can be with this. Whew. Just a simple little roll cast makes that snake roll. It's the way to cast. After all those years of casting it, and I got introduced to this, I could care less about the other stuff. You know, all that back casting, double hauling. This is easier to teach than regular casting because there's less components to it. Wow. All right. I'm going to have the cameraman come down here now. We're going to see what his, if he's got it together here. Here you go, Richard.
Okay.
We got the man from Rose Creek himself right here.
Well, Bob, one thing that I had trouble with when I was learning how to do the single hand
Right.
skate is I had a hard time loading up the rod.
Right.
Because, you know, when you do a back cast and you get 60 feet behind you, that puts a lot of load on the rod.
It does, you're right.
So when you do this type of a cast,
Yep.
I had a hard time getting the rod to load.
Okay.
So, what do you have to adjust for that?
Well, first of all, you want to be in a very relaxed state, okay? You want to be a very relaxed state. I mean, just about to the point where it's just ridiculously soft. But don't tighten up. Don't get, you know, don't get huddled up into it. Just get nice and loose. Come back. Hit the water. Make the cast. There's the cast. Let me see you cast, and then I can tell you what I see. Okay? I thought you did pretty well, actually.
Well, I've been practicing since then.
Oh, sure. You didn't tell me that part.
But when I first started this, I was just having a difficult time getting a load.
Oh, sure. Everybody does. I fought it for years. There. Look at that.
Yeah.
That's the casualness I'm talking about right there. It's got to be casual. But there's no slamming it back. There's no slamming it forward. It's just a whoop. It's this.
I think another
seesaw.
Another thing that I had that I think I was doing wrong is I was putting too much force
That's right.
into the cast, and then
Right.
it doesn't.
Because the lines are overgrained for the rod. In other words, what did you say you had on there?
A 225.
225. So that's equivalent to about a 9-weight fly line on a 6-weight rod. So your 3 lines heavier than that rod should cast. But because of the type of casting you're doing, that's what we want. We want to overgrain it so it loads the rod deep. So when you hit it, that's the stop right here. That boom. This don't get it. This gets it. That little short stop. It's a round poop.
Okay.
And it's not hard. It looks hard. It's not hard. It's how fast you do it. The speed of it. And it's not like that. It's just that little short move. Maybe at the most 2 feet. At the most 2 feet.
That one didn't go.
Yeah, use your bottom hand. Then just let it rip. Okay, about a foot overhang now. Put your rod tip down so when you're drawing it in, everything sets up nice. Okay. There. That's the key.
Just be relaxed.
You know, if we had a reel that you could hear the clicker go, when we hear the clicker back up on a reel and we're spey casting, we call it burping the reel.
Okay.
That's the sound I want to hear every time I cast. But these reels don't have that kind of clicker. Yeah, but the reels I use got clickers that when you hit it at the end of the cast, you hear it go. That's burping the reel. It's just a good feeling. Because there's no, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing how soft you have to be with this. I did nothing, and I'm hardly holding it. Here's the deal: when you start squeezing the juice out of it, that, by the way, those were in a good cast in. When you squeeze it hard like this here, and you come around, it ain't going no place. It's got to be relaxed. Just like that. All those different casts that you can make. I'm going to do a snap. I'm going to go that direction. So I'm going to do a snap T, come around with my body, go that way. In order to achieve that with a regular style of casting, you'd have to false cast all the way around that circle. That's nonsense. Now I'm there, I'm out there, I want to go there. So what am I going to do? I'm going to draw a circle in the air and go that way. It's just a snake roll. You learn these casts. It takes a while. I'm so dumb it took me about 4 years. But I now can take a person and in 4 hours having them doing a reasonable cast. Not a great cast, but a reasonable, maybe 60, 70 footer. This rod would take a little heavier line. I think this line's a little bit underlined. I like them so when you hit them, you can just feel it hit the end of the cast. Just go, you know. So you don't have to be afraid with these graphite rods. You don't have to worry about overloading them. I wouldn't be afraid at all to put a 300 on here. Yeah.
Maybe I'll try that.
That's 80 grains heavier than what you got. A 300 is over 11 weight. That's going into a 12 weight. But the type of casting we do allows you to do that with those heavy lines. It's absolutely, yeah, if you keep that bottom hand low and soft, it just wants to go. So da-da-da, on and on it goes. OPST makes a great line, there's no secret to that. I'm a scientific angler myself. They have exceptionally nice lines. I like your Scandi lines. I'm a Scandi caster. There's two types of spey lines. There's a Scandi line, there's a Skagit line. Skagit lines, you have to add a tip to it. Scandi line, you don't add tips to it. But now they're making lines, a Scandi line, that you can add a sinking tip to it. They're just come out here last year. I'm not familiar, I haven't had any yet, but I'm going to order some this winter and I'll try them this winter. So, all right, guys.